Well, for today's interview, I thought who better than my dad, Mr. Selvanayagam Chittaranjan, who retired as the Director General of Police, Assam in 1995. As many of you know from my brother Jonathan's FB posting, my dad is seriously unwell but has agreed to this at my insistence and persistence. Unlike many senior government officials I know, he is one of the few officers who, number one, served as DGP of 2 states, number 2, did not make money, number 3, rushed to have his memoirs out, and number 4, did not hanker for a comfortable post-retirement posting, but preferred to be an ordinary citizen of Chennai. In a way, his overview of thoughts on his service in Assam and Meghalaya could serve as a very useful and informative record for posterity. It's the 13th of December 2009 today, and I'm taking this at 1:25 p.m. Here goes. All yours, Dad, and as a DJ would say, take it away.
I'm very grateful to Kalpana for the very flattering remarks, opening remarks. I was appointed to the Indian Police Service in 1961 June. It's very difficult to put in a small capsule one's uninterrupted experiences in Assam and Meghalaya and northeastern region in general for 34 uninterrupted years. But I'll try to make it as concise as possible. I was not given my cadre allotment when I got the appointment orders. It took about 6 months when I was under training in the Mount Abu Central Police Training College. Then I came to know that I had been allotted to Assam. Meghalaya was not in existence at that time. In fact, most of my batchmates commiserated with me about my being posted to Assam. Assam was indeed in those days a very remote place, hardly known to the rest of India. Its only claim for importance was the rather dubious distinction of the Naga insurgent, the first armed insurgency against the Indian state in the 1950s. I finished my training and I was posted to Jorhat at the height of the Chinese aggression in November 1962. With a young wife and a baby daughter a few months old, we would reach Jorhat after 5 arduous days of various types of journey, including ferry rides all along the way. Even going from Pandu to Guwahati, one had to ferry across. It was a very difficult time because the Chinese were at the doorsteps of Tezpur, and Tezpur was just across the Brahmaputra in Jorhat. And the Indian army had decided to pull out of the northeast and make a stand only in Siliguri. In fact, this has left a lasting damage in the psyche of the northeastern people, who never forgot that the rest of India decided to forsake them when the need really was there. However, it was a very momentous and tumultuous journey for me, starting as a young ASP in Jorhat. Even as an ASP, I was sent to various special assignments to tackle various local issues. I got my first subdivision in the important place of Sibsagar, oil town of Sibsagar, as a SPPO, and then got my promotion as second in command of the 2nd Assam Police Battalion in Bichu, which is again a very remote hill area bordering Nagaland, where the Naga insurgency was at its height. In fact, my battalion was under the army control, army operational control. And we had to go through very trying times because the Naga insurgents were very active and we were in charge of the vital railway link between Upper Assam and Lower Assam, and there were constant attacks on the trains, firing on trains, explosion in the railway tracks, and explosion in the railway carriages itself, long before the rest of India knew about this. After 2 years, I was given the opportunity to raise the 8th Assam Police Battalion in a very sleepy village called Barampur in a wasteland. In fact, I remember my wife Patsy crying when she saw that wasteland where the battalion was supposed to come up. However, with the very hard work of my officers and men, within 2 years that area was well developed with electricity, school, and already the seeds of a thriving township was planted. And immediately after that 2 year stint of raising the battalion, I was given the posting, my first district posting was Sukunda Police Garo Hills. In those days, Garo Hills was one district under Assam, not 5 districts as it exists in Meghalaya today. And the non-violent direct action launched by the APHLC was at its height. It was a unique experiment by the hill people. So normally they were known for violently taking to arms against the state. They strictly followed the Gandhian principles under the wise leadership of people like Captain Williams and Sanma, who later became one of the longest serving chief ministers in India when Meghalaya was formed. In 1971, the experimental autonomous district, the autonomous state of Meghalaya was a statehood was given, which was a state within a state. And I was immediately after that posted to Shillong, which was the joint capital of Assam and Meghalaya.
If I can interrupt here, can you just talk a little bit about the birth of your sons in Assam? That might be of interest too.
Right. I forgot to mention, thank you Kalpana, I forgot to mention that 2 very important landmarks took place in the meantime. When I was SDPO, when I was under orders of posting to the subdivision, my first son Peter was born in Jordan. My second son, my last second son, Jonathan, was born under unique circumstances. Because of the constant firing on the railway trains, it took us quite some time to take my wife for confinement in Jordan, because we did not have proper facilities. However, the time had already come due, and while we were waiting in the officer's nest, the baby was delivered. And I acted as a midwife, as one of the unique experiences of a father to act as a midwife in the midnight with only with a very old retired doctor in mind. Anyhow, my sons, in other words, are 2 sons of the soil of the northeast. And thereafter it was the important landmark in Shillong. It was a difficult posting because I was acting under 2 state governments. I had to report to 2 state governments. And there were inevitable frictions and problems. In the meantime, the Bangladesh influx of refugees had started, and we had a huge influx of about 4 lakhs of refugees into what is now the Kasi Hills, East Kasi Hills. What was then just known as the United Kasi and Venke Hills. Now these districts have again been split into 4 districts. It was 1 district in those days. And the population of the refugees were almost as much as the indigenous population. And that led to serious ethnic problems, and we had to deal with riots in Shillong, where I was once seriously injured and killed because of stone throw. Ultimately, Meghalaya attained its statehood in 1972. Bangladesh was born. There was a time of relative peace, and Meghalaya Police was formed on the 21st of January 1972. And I was given the privilege of being posted as the first Assistant IG of Administration. under the able leadership of late Mr.H.S.Chittaranjan, who was the first IG. In fact, there were no DIGs in those days. Only the two of us who had to lay the foundation for what is now the Meghalaya Police. It was a very fruitful time because we do a lot of constructive work, starting from just one borrowed typewriter from the Assam IG's office and a few borrowed tables from other offices. From this very small nucleus, we were able to build up a fairly large structure. Immediately after that, I had another, after this 2-3 years posting as AIG, I was posted as SP Intelligence, Anti-Corruption and Insurgencies. It was a testing time because 78-79, the foreigners agitation had started in Assam, which spilled over into Meghalaya. And I was promoted as DIG at about the same time. And although I was given the charge of Home Guards, but I was asked to look after the law and order. I was also placed in charge of law. And it was a very testing time. We had, in fact, during 79 October, we had continuous curfew for nearly 3 months in Sudan. And there were large loss of life and property due to a large-scale fire. We passed this stage, and the Meghalaya Police was restructured, and there were very able IGs who followed Mr. Bharat. And the first DG of police was Mr. Baba, late Mr. Baba, followed by Mr. I.A. They were all very far-sighted senior officers who did a lot of constructive work for making Meghalaya Police what it is today. I was then given charge of intelligence, DIG intelligence and administration, and later was promoted as IG intelligence, administration, including administration. We had to again go through a lot of problems because insurgency had already started, Alpha insurgency started in this time, which had its again spillover effect in Meghalaya. After being IG, I was given the privilege of being the chief of Meghalaya Police in December 89. And I was DG from 89 to 91. And we had our own number of problems during that period. I was posted back to my mother cadre at Assam in 1991, and
Just take it. Take it.
Hello.
Just say that. I'm sorry, there's a phone.
Kalpana is holding an interview for me, man. I'll just give you a ring. I'll give you a ring. Sorry for the interruption.
There's no pause button here.
Sorry for the interruption. I was called away by a phone call. 91, I was posted back to my mother cadre at Assam as DG Home Guards. I was given a lot of opportunity to completely reorganize the Home Guards, which is a very large organization in Assam, and we were of great help to Assam Police. Ultimately, I was given the privilege of being chief of Assam Police before my retirement in 95. And we had some, due to the efforts of my very dynamic SPs that I had in the districts, we had some signal successes against the Alpha. A lot of Alpha leaders were eliminated or were captured or surrendered. A large amount of arms and ammunition was also captured. Before I conclude, I just want to say a few words about the Northeast. Northeast is a very, very complex, very complicated region. Even after 34 years there, even I know only a few facets of the region in its entirety. So when I see armchair experts expounding on the Northeast, I can only feel amazed. And I can also understand the alienation for the people of that region. It is only when I came out of there I could understand why there is so much of it.
What do you think are the factors? Some
There
of
are
the
a number of
factors.
factors.
Yeah.
One is the British deliberately kept the Northeast isolated from the rest of the world for their own reasons. And that isolation remains till, as I said, it took us 5 days to travel from Chennai Central to Jorat Station. That isolation remained till the Chinese aggression. And the communication, at least thankfully, have been opened up in a very considerable way. But the fact remains, the people of the Northeast feel that they are very different from the mainland, the so-called mainstream. And this mainstream itself, I am not very sure whether they should emulate us. I am not very sure that the mainstream India is so ideal. There is so much of ideal aspects of the Northeastern world, like especially in the tribal areas. There is still a classless society. There is no big or low. Although that is again being insidiously destroyed. The other thing is the very nature of the region. It is not one unified, it is not a homogeneous, one unit. People make the mistake of thinking that the 7 sisters, that means the 7 states, are very alike. They can't be more different from each other. In fact, just to take an example, Meghalaya itself consists of 3 main tribes. And the Garos and the Khasis are totally different from each other. They differ in language, they differ in their culture, except that they are a matrilineal matriarchal society. Even among the Nagas, the Naga is not one Hindu. There are 18 different tribes. And they have their own language. They cannot talk to each other in their language. So they evolved a language called the Nagam. It's a pidgin Assamese to communicate between themselves. Even there are subtle differences in the dress. Like Angami's dress is different from our from Sema, etc. In Manipur, which is just a small state, we have many types of plains tribes. We have Muslims. We have the hill tribes in the hill areas. As a result, the last count, there are 38 different insurgencies going on in Manipur. The Assam itself is not one entity, not one ethnic or linguistic entity. There are a number of plains tribes, each wanting their own space, each wanting their own distinct identity. As a result, there are a number of insurgencies going on, apart from the well-known Alpha insurgencies. Meghalaya itself has got 2 insurgencies, ongoing insurgencies, although on a small scale. But I'm afraid unless there is a very, very broad difference in the attitude of the rest of India towards Northeast, Northeast will always feel that they are an exploited region. They are being exploited by the rest of India for the natural resources, say tea and oil, which are 2 essential components of our economy. The Assamese get very little out of it. Assam government gets very little royalty. So there has to be a total change, not seeing just funds. And these funds are just being siphoned away by the 3 entities called the politician, the bureaucrat, and the so-called trading class. But before I end, I want to say it is a great and a beautiful region. The people are so good. individually they're so good. I have not come across better people in the rest of India. And I have had the privilege of building up very lasting friendships with the people of Assam and Meghalaya. And similarly, my children, who are truly the children of Northeast, have most of their lifelong friends still in the Northeast. And our hearts will always be in Northeast. Our home, we feel, is the Northeast. We wish the best of luck for the people of the Northeast, and they richly deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dad, for sharing some of your thoughts on your service career in Assam and Meghalaya, and also on your insights on the Northeast. We are all praying that your results for the 14th, that is tomorrow, Monday, will turn out negative, and I wish you long years of health and happiness.
Thank you.
Thank you.